Now, would you suggest that I don't look at you a lot?
That's up to you. I mean, we're having a discussion.
Hey, listen, let's have a few laughs before we start,
Oh,
right?
we're already live.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I already
Oh,
told
isn't
you
that
that.
something? Oh, that's the
Yeah.
best way to do it. It's spontaneous. Okay.
Hi guys, if you're new to the channel, this is Fedra. Welcome to the Monday Motivation. I am very pleased to introduce Todd Curran.
You got it right.
Curran like curry,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about numerology today.
Yes, we are.
I have only read one book in numerology, and it's over here. Let's see if you've read this.
Oh, good. So I don't have to worry about you overpowering me in at least this area.
Have you read that book?
I have not. I have looked through it. I know that book is waiting for me because
Oh,
I know
yes.
there is maybe some Chinese numerology in some systems that I actually might not know.
Harish Johari, I'm going to show you guys that real quick. Dear Mom gave me that book. It's fabulous.
It's a good one. I wonder why you only have one.
Yeah, you know, it's something that I've wanted to get into, but
Yeah.
again, not my specialty, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
We get to talk about all you. I know that we met at Rockma when I did my tarot class. That's how
Yes.
we met. And have you gone to Rockma before, or was that like your first time there?
I have. I've gone to the Course of Miracles
Okay.
for probably 15 years. Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it, but I've not dived into that. No.
It's a very loving, channeled Bible, I would say, that doesn't have a whole lot of sin in it. It's really about perception and redemption and so forth, and that's why I like it.
Okay.
I don't have the book myself.
At Rockma though?
At
that location?
Rockma, that's
You went
right.
there. Okay.
That's right. Every the first Sunday of every month.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the last time I went to the Reiki, because I don't want to be in class, I was going to the Unity Church in Clearwater,
Okay.
and when that was all done, I had amazing psychic experience that was completely irrational. But I was able to see the process of psychic ability. And what it was I call the Reverend Eva. You met Eva,
I did.
right? And I call her Evolution. She likes that.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that after the class. And then for whatever reason, I said Evia. And then I said, no, Stevia. And then Stevie Nicks came to me.
Oh wow.
And her boyfriend came up to me immediately and said, we just saw Stevie Nicks, and you couldn't believe, how good it was. And I thought, there's nothing logical about that pattern. So after I wrote about it, and I just kept it for myself, I realized why I don't really try to explain some of the things that I do. I had a girlfriend born on Edgar Casey, didn't know she was psychic until I heard a ghost and she came home shopping. Isn't that funny, the law of resonation, that I would even be with her and not know that, And that's because she had very little ego and she was unassuming. But she said, well, can you explain how you go out of body? And
Oh, like astral
travel.
out of body experience.
So I've studied it. I can't still explain it. I know that when you're falling, you're just coming 2 inches down back into your body.
Well, when people think of numerology, and I mean, if you have any comments watching, please feel free to, have your questions in the chat. I want to shout out to 8-Bit Mike, who will be moderating, but I will also be moderating. That's why I got the iPad out. So I'll do my best to kind of, attend to everyone while I, go to these questions. But when I think of numerology, people think of numbers, and they think of adding their name. I've heard of destiny numbers. I've heard of number of the day. Like, I looked into personally numerology when I got this place.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the address, and I was looking at my unit number and seeing what's the meaning behind that. So I've always recommended when people are going into real estate,
Yeah.
look into the number of your house. It really gives you a lot of wisdom of where you are, particularly in the house. And I've always said to take care of your home as the temple because it is a representation of what's going on in your mind. So that's my explanation, I guess. And I mean, of course, I don't expect you to explain numerology in like 30 minutes, but if, you know, thinking of the watchers that probably are just curious,
Yeah.
how would you sum up just what attracted you into numerology?
Well, I think there's two things. I was very good at arithmetic as a kid, and I wanted to come home and write to 1,000,000. Well, I only made it to 28, and I went out and played marble, which is all trajectories, right? Pythagorean,
Yeah.
Western numerology, right, is with the system we use. Easy to memorize in your head. A is a 1, B is a 2, because it's linear. You know, the ancient systems don't have a linear system, so how do you memorize them? You know, and so my dad was. It's funny because he was in the top 1% in the country in math, and I never took the math, but I was good at arithmetic.
Okay.
And the other thing was that I was also going out of body as a kid. Well, so it's almost like
I was gonna say,
I
have
my
all those
second book
books,
first.
You know, you've published so many.
Yeah, and I published 5 books, and even though this is the second, why have I been thinking about it all day long? Because I had a girlfriend say that I was too into numbers, and I thought, well, wait a minute.
We could turn it around. This is
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
numerology.
Beyond numerology, tapping into other worlds. But
Fabulous.
they're not numbers, they're vibrations.
Correct.
They are filters of light through flow lines that show attributes that are
I like the blue
reveal
with your shirt.
spirituality. I always have a lot of blue, you know.
Yeah.
Somehow I went from green to blue over the
Throat
years.
chakra,
You know.
and then we got the premonition
Is
indigo
that what
going
it
on.
is? The indigo or whatever?
Maybe, just
Yeah.
saying, maybe.
Yeah. So you know.
Hello, Matt. Welcome. If you have any questions, just feel free to chime into the chat about numerology.
So anyway, this was my second book, and this gave me a chance to weave in a lot more people that went in my first book, like Jobs, who's a 1. Ones are inventors, or a Da Vinci, that's name adds up to 111. They don't even accept people that have triple numbers that they're real. And to me, why not? He's a 111, and to explain that.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
going to say, how do you get to knowing that you're a 1 or a 1-1? Like, how does that equate?
Yeah, well, you take
There's a formula.
Yeah, there's a memorizable formula, but there's a table. Well, why bother memorizing it?
True.
As a numerologist, why wouldn't I? You know, it's easy to memorize, and you know, if A is a 1 and B is a 2 and C is a 3, if you take all of those numbers and add them up, the letters of his birth name, they add up to 138.
Gotcha.
Well, in my way of doing it, the 3 and the 8 needs to be an 11. And the 1 sits in the front. Why would that be? Because we know he's a visionary. So I like the intuitive arts of it, because not all numerologists will do that.
Okay.
Or accept that people can handle or master triple numbers. And he's an example of somebody that can. And there's a lot of examples of that. Elon Musk is also a 111.
What else do you
Should
got
I
for
pick
us?
that? Are you tired of looking at this one?
Well, just giving you a rest too. But
This-
I want everyone to see the various books you
My
have.
hand was getting tired. I was like doing like the master that has his hand up for 1,000 years, right? Till it falls off.
What's this one called?
I tried to.
The Mysteries of Numerology, the Guide to Your Destiny. That's exciting.
Yeah, and I tried to finish this one on 9/11 for numerological reasons.
Mhm.
You know, endings and beginnings. Nine being endings and beginnings.
And we just had a
yeah.
9-year.
Yeah, we just had a 9-year, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people have gone through, you know, a lot of difficult relationships last year. Luckily this year, if you add up 2026, 2 plus 2 plus 6, you get 10. And what you do in the numbers is you always reduce the double numbers. It's called phatic addition. So if you added the 1 and the 0, then we're in a 1 year. That's great, because we're starting a brand new cycle after 9 years, you
We
know?
all need it. We definitely need a new cycle.
Yes, we
I
do.
agree with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggled last year, you know?
And they're saying a lot, you know, what would you say if there's any connection with numerology to Chinese, where they're talking about this fire horse? They're talking that it starts at the end of February. I don't truly know why.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you connect that with numerology, or are those two separate things?
You know, of all of the esoteric arts, I understand Chinese astrology the least.
Same.
I keep it real simple, right?
Yeah.
I'm a dragon. I gotta sit in that sauna every day. You know, I love heat. I've run for 35 years here, right through the summer. You know, and I'm not gonna say
Wow.
that I like that. I need that. You know,
The intensity of it.
my name adds up to 88 when you add up all my numbers.
Okay.
And the double numbers vibrate at higher frequencies. So really it's like an 8 to a higher octave. And add to that if you subtract any of the double numbers, like let's say if you were an 11 and you subtract those, it's a 0. There's no boundary. So there's a lot of free will that goes along with that.
Well, let's say that we're talking about when you said you're 88.
Yeah.
Right? For the viewers.
Yeah,
that
to
means
explain
we,
that?
Yeah, that
Sure.
means we added your first name and your
That's-
last name, because I know sometimes people have middle names. Do we even add the middle name? Do we
Yes,
not? Like,
yes.
what happens there?
The theory is, and the reason that you utilize the middle name is that this is my belief, and you don't have to believe this,
True.
right, for numerology, because it's not about belief, it's about exploration. But I believe that the birth name is the cumulative energy of all of our lifetimes into one number. It is there before we're born often, and there's tons of patterns in it, and it is done by design. So we don't see the world the way it is, we see the world the way our numbers are. They are perception, and that's what I meant by the filtering of light through that energy, to understand them. You know, you can understand the flow lines of a number, like Steve Jobs is being a 1, the number goes straight up and down. So it's single-minded, it is a pure channel. And
And a visionary, like you said.
Definitely, it's,
Yeah.
especially if you add an 11 to that, like a Paul McCartney, you know, who's all of his numbers are doubles, right? So you're talking about a lot of geniuses with that energy, you know. So, but as an example of my name, because let's not just throw these numbers out. Like for example, the T is the 20th letter in the alphabet, and 2 and 0 is 2. So you're always reducing them down. The O is the 15th letter in the alphabet, so 1 and 5 is 6. D is very obvious, it's a 4. The other D is a 4. You add all those numbers up and you get 16, which is a 7. 1 and 6 is 7, so you're always reducing down.
Wow.
Yeah, and so when you do that with Todd Patrick Curran, you get 88. But the reason that you get 88 with my name is that I have decided when you do the numbers that you do not reduce the K because it's an 11. We first realize the realization that it is a double number. It needs to be realized. So if my name was, if I did K as a 2, which it is, if the K is reduced, 1 and 1 is 2, my name would add up to 79 instead of 88. It doesn't matter, because 7 and 9 is 16, and 1 and 6 is 7, or 8 and 8 is 16. Either way,
That's where
I'm a 7.
That's where my
Yeah.
brain was going. So
Yeah.
that's where, even when you get to the double,
Yeah,
you're still going to narrow it down again
that
to
is
the
correct.
7.
That is
Okay.
correct. The 7 is how the world sees you. They see me maybe as intense, Scorpio rising.
Definitely.
Seven is Scorpio. So we see an overlap between 3 things, the big 3, the tarot, the astrological planets, and the numerology work hand in hand. I'm not saying they're perfect,
No,
you know,
it's
but
perfect and perfect.
Yeah, well, it's perfect because there is endless books on it, and the writers are all geniuses because there's really no limits to it. But what I love about it is it's the most accurate and simple of all the systems. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be complex. You can understand any day by doing numbers without knowing the astrology and getting a tremendous amount of information in 5 minutes time.
Well, let's put the spotlight a little bit on me, just because
No, good. It takes a lot of pressure off.
I'm already here. Again, my name is Fedra, and if you're liking so far, please like and subscribe to my channel. Really loving to share this as far as educating people and also just opening you up for the week. It's a Monday. I was feeling a little bit of a Monday today. I don't know about Todd. I don't know why I'm moving into a New York accent, but I'm just feeling it, and I'm so glad.
You're from New York, are you not?
No. I'm from Chicago.
Wow, I'm getting all the, you make me dizzy.
I'm turning you around. Yeah. But
Keep programming me, that's what.
I love learning new things, and so again, I'm just very. And what does that mean?
Let's simply do it. The F is a 6, the E is a 5, the D is a 4. Very simple because they're right at the beginning, right? They're easy to figure out, right? D is
not easy to figure out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're done with you. We'll move on.
F-E-D.
F-E-D.
Fed.
The R is the 18th letter in the alphabet, so it's a 9. 1 and 8 is 9. In Fedra, it adds up to 25. And then if we did the same thing with your last name, it adds up to 31.
Acris.
Acris. Oh, is that how you say it? Okay,
Yes.
I've been saying it right all along.
Oh, you have.
Just through texting.
They try to do Icarus or Acris.
Well, remember I texted you and I said, is it Acris, as if that means anything from the text, but I was saying it right. And if you add the 31 of your last name, your name adds up to 47. And 4 and 7 is an 11. So,
favorite number!
It'd be kind of cool if you were a psychic or something with that number, because that's what an 11 is when it's in its pure power. It is a channel because the numbers are doubled. And again, you have to subtract those numbers also, and you get 0. Let's say your name adds up to 37, and you subtract them. It's a 4. Well, it has boundaries. The 0 is unlimited. 0 is actually not a number, it's a cipher, but it's pure potential. The numbers 1 through 9 will have a 0 before it.
It's a lot of math for me on a Monday, but I'm trying to keep up with you.
Well, so you're visionary, and then I thought, your culture kind of got screwed, because if you don't have a name like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you take a tic-tac-toe chart and you put the numbers in there, there's going to be some missing, right? So I did this in my head the other night, and I go, oh, well, luckily, most of them you have anyway. If they're missing, then there's a lesson there. Let me think about doing that in my head, what would be missing. You're missing a 7. You don't have you don't have a Y, a G, or a P in your name, is that correct?
True.
Well, you know what? You're born on, you mind me saying? 430. And that is called your goal number. 4 and 3 is 7. Your first name is a 7. Your vowels add up to 16, and 1 and 6 is a 7. Are you really missing that energy, or is your whole life about going deeper, So what I realized was the numbers you're missing, and I don't think you have a C, an L, or a U.
No.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Well, your birth date is a 3, and you're born on the 30th. The 0 operates as a magnifier. Are you not a musician?
Yes.
Out of 2 comes a 3rd, and that's why 3s are artists.
Yeah.
So you have the artistry and the visionary. When you add those together, think of the 3 is here. It's called your arrival number. The 11 is your purpose, and it's who you are, and it's your expression. It's what you offer to the world. Your birth date is what is offered to you. You can change your name so you can mess around with it a little bit.
True.
And that's because all the energy comes in with past lives. Why can't we change it a little bit if we've operated with that energy so much? It's not going to change a whole lot of anything.
Does it adjust or change if you get married and then you change the last name? Or if you add? Because I know in Spanish heritage they have 2 last names.
Usually what happens when you get married, if it's a good marriage, the numbers will go from, let's say that your name is a 3, it'll go to a 6 or a 9, because numbers evolve and grow in certain phases. A 3 is...
That's fascinating.
It is. A 3 is a self-expressive artist. A 6 is a self-expressive, but they're domesticated. It's about the family, and you notice that number's right in the center.
It's about the family.
Right? Yeah, it's about the family, and when you look at it, it's a womb, right? And it is protecting gestation. So they're about protection and guardianship. And if you don't want kids, don't go out with a 6. You know, they don't always have kids. They'll have everybody else's kids, right? And everybody else's animals, you know?
Yeah, they're the fun uncle or the sweet aunt type of vibe. Okay.
I'm not used to your pattern. My first love has identical numbers to you, but they were in reverse order. She had a 3 name and an 11. When you add your 3 and 11, you get 14, 5. And so that's like an explorer. That is somebody that is going out and promoting things. It's called a karmic number. There are certain numbers, 13, 14, 16, and 19. We don't really know why they get a bad rap. There's geniuses with that energy because they know how to use them. Taylor Swift's a double 13, and she's absolutely used it to her favor. Well, 13 can be lazy, you know. The trick is to turn it to creativity. The 14 can be is a 5. The 5 senses can be indulgent. That's what the 4 is for, is structure. We have a president that's a double 14. You never would have heard of him if he had a drink. His brother almost drank himself to death. That's why he never had a drink, and he was in the military, which...
Didn't know that.
Yeah, which did something to ground that energy because, you know, double 14s, Jim Morrison, Heath Ledger, they're here and gone, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Morrison would say, like, I want to leave as a supernova flying over. So I have a section in my second book that's called Supernovas, and of course Amy Winehouse is in there because she's a double 14, you know. Yeah.
No wonder.
Yeah,
I really loved her music.
it's sad, but what it is that 14s aren't really in their bodies, so they're not really. You can see Amy Winehouse walking down street in her video, and it looks to me like she's not really there. I see that with certain people's energy.
Interesting, she had a lot of body dysmorphia. She was actually having a lot of disorders while eating, and then also being an alcoholic. So it's interesting you're mentioning that. I think that's
on
part
top
of
of being a Virgo, she's already over in analytical, and 5 can't slow down.
Was she a Virgo? I thought she was.
She was. No, she's a Virgo. Yeah, she's born on 9/14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and then her name is a 14 also. So you know, but you know the thing is, a perfect example of a double 14 is Evel Knievel. You know, oh, he's gonna jump 13 buses. He didn't even make 13. Why is he doing 14 now? Because they are always going a little beyond, and they are super salesmen. And he was a salesman before he ever got into hot rodding and stuff like that. So 14s are daredevils also, you know.
Where do you find these meanings when it comes to what you're saying? Is this in the books? Is this in interpretation? Is this passed down?
It is, and you see it over and over again. And I have like 23 books on the subject, so I keep reading them until I find something interesting. I like the idea that the karmic numbers, for example, the 88 is adds to 16. So I have a karmic number in there also. And that's withdrawn, you know. So what you have to do with that is be responsible, which is the 6 in the equation, right?
Right.
6 is obligatory. You could even see it, right? It's all about family. And I've done that. You know, I dragged myself up. I'm late to go on stage, and I always got there in time, even when I shouldn't have done that, and was always there. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking of Carl Jung, Man in the Symbols, that this is what a man, this is my rite of passage, right? I will always get there no matter what, you know? And so, you know, those numbers are not necessarily curses. You know, Marie Curie, I think she had 2 Nobel Prizes for inventions, was born on that number. So, being that it's a 7, and 7 are the investigators.
Yeah, everyone always says that 7's lucky.
Yeah. Well, I don't think as a 7 that 7 is lucky at all. I think that they because they're also dealing with the other realms, and it is the most non-material of all numbers. That is difficult to deal with on the physical plane. The 8 next to that is the material number. If you're Tom Brady, you know, 7 Super Bowls, he's a 888. I don't know any 888s, Leo 888. That's the general. And it's also the strength card in the tarot, right? It is mastering the subconscious, the shadow stuff that we deal with, that allows him to have the edge over other people. You can't smart talk somebody like that. And in fact, he didn't mind throwing trash out himself, right? Because he was almost detached from the emotional response to that gave him that ability. He also had Saturn in the 10th house, is why when I saw him at Michigan, because I lived near the stadium, he was on the sidelines. Well, Saturn takes a long time to develop.
True.
You know, and I think that absolutely happened in his life, right?
So you're connecting numerology and astrology, just for the viewers. Is
Yeah.
that something that you normally do, or is that something over time you found in your study to connect?
Yeah, over time, but I'm constantly connecting those 3 esoteric sciences that we discuss. The tarot, you know, the inventors being 1, right? The 1 is the magician. They're able to take the 4 elements, which is on the card, right?
Yes.
And turn it into something brand new, right? 1 being the first.
So if
example.
if someone wants a session with you, is that what you're doing? You're combining doing a little bit of tarot, numerology, and astrology, or do you take them apart? Does it depend on the client?
I'm doing them in my head, but what I'm actually giving them is a numerology chart.
Okay.
But there is an inclusion table, or you could call it a tic-tac-toe table, where the numbers of the letters go in. We were doing that with yours, like you're missing a 3, but it's covered, right? The 3s were covered somewhere else. Then planets also go in those boxes, and tarot cards, you know. But the reality is that when I'm doing a numerology chart, it is the numbers that are prominent and powerful. The same thing in astrology. It's why I would suggest to anybody that would be the study, because it actually is simple to use. In all of astrology, all playing cards are taken off of the numbers. So why not go to the very source so that you know where that energy is coming from, you know?
It's a beautiful point.
Yeah. But I mean, and like, I have a system in my book called arithmancy. Mancy meaning divination, arith meaning numbers. And my name means occult wisdom. And I go, that's how I got into numerology. That was the first thing. And it said, oh, this system doesn't make any sense. A is a 1. I don't care if that system makes sense. I want to know if it works. To think that I would know how that system, that Egyptian or Atlantis system, because those systems are so amazing. Where do they come from? I mean, there is a system of abracadabra that literally tells you your path of your life. Now, I haven't proven, you can't prove them. I could do charts all day long.
True, these are all
You know,
theories.
Yeah, it's all theory, but my father died of lymphoma, so did my sister. They have identical paths that end with illness. And the rest is about business, expansion. They were both very high up at IBM.
And you
So
found
they-
this solely through looking at the chart of their numbers.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct. They have an identical chart, but I don't use that system. Not everybody wants to know that. And,
Right.
and I don't know for sure, you know. I was able to predict my mother's death, but that's because I knew she was gonna go within a month, which
Wow.
makes it pretty easy to know when that would happen. And she passed on a 5 and a 9. 5 is right down the middle. You'd be amazed at how many transsexuals are 5s.
Huh.
You know, Jim Morrison was a 5. He was he was by something, right?
Yes.
He couldn't stay in his body.
He was,
Bipolar,
he was very
you know.
sag, you know, he was very
Oh,
much
definitely.
looking
Yeah,
his
yeah.
truth.
Yeah, the 14 would be a symbol for Sagittarius on top of that.
It's
you
so
know?
funny that you mentioned him, you know, as we're getting to know each other, because you have no idea how much I used to idolize him. My mom would be laughing right now. Like I just used to idolize him in high school. I loved the way that he performed, and I loved the band itself. I used to really analyze Raymond Zarek and his organ playing. It was just out of this world. They took you literally on a trip, and
Oh, I know.
I love the very cliche, like, doors of perception, man. Like,
No, I know, I
but
love
I
it.
mean, I still love it, even though
Yeah.
it's kind of cliche.
Yeah. They were amazing. When I was a little kid living in Plymouth, Michigan, that adds up to 14. It became a drug haven for a little while there. That would make sense. I remember hippies tripping on acid as a little kid. You know, very interesting as a 5-year-old going, "Whoa, what's that?" Right?
Yeah.
Who's this guy? And my mother said, "Come on out here," because she was very curious also. And my brother took me next door to a hippie shop as a little kid, and he took the Doors' first album out, and he goes, "That's Jim Morrison, and he died of heroin." You know, when you're a little kid, you go, "Oh my God, that's horrible." And then I looked at him, and I go, "Oh, he's pretty cool."
Right.
You know? Well, they were formed in the same year that I was born. That means something to me on top of that. I love them, absolutely love people that have that bohemian type of energy, like a Jimi Hendrix would be an example.
Oh, yes.
Another Sagittarius, right? So when you're dealing with a 14 Sag, that is a double dose that they might not be in their body. So before I wrote my first book, I met,
Do you have your first book here with us?
there it is, again.
Okay, that's that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
this book is
Because
actually,
we got other ones to show.
I
We're
do.
gonna get to all of them.
I did, but we gotta show this one, because it's actually in the top 14 in the world. I don't know if that's true or not.
Really?
I've had several marketing companies.
Hey, fancy. Okay.
Wow.
Let's talk it up. We had the full moon in Leo. Let's go. Let's go and show it out. Top
Well, it's
14.
ridiculous. They said, well, it's 50,000 out of 300 million. I'm going, that sucks. I go, wait, that's in the top 14%, which is pretty good for a numerology book that I only promoted it by teaching, you know, through chalkboards and at different locations, you know.
So are any of these on Amazon or everybody
All
has
of
to
them are
contact
on,
you?
all of them are on Amazon.com.
Heck yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
and I think people love this one too because I had a musician that I found, very interesting guy that lived next to Stan Good's clocks. He was a clock fixer, and he had thousands in where he lived, and so it was a neat place to go there and have him draw pictures, you know.
Oh, I can imagine all the different types of clocks and watches and all that.
Yeah,
Looks like a
he gave me
music
some.
video.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Well, he was a strange looking dude too, you know.
Like Mad Hatter, like kind of
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, definitely. He had long gray hair, and he was half Cherokee and half Irish. He was a very interesting Gemini, no doubt about it. Yeah. But anyway, his art was really good. So anyway, that's book one. And I was born on the day of substantiation, and I was born on the day of the metaphysicians. This is in the, I think it's called the birthday book. I can't remember exactly what it is. A secret language of birthdays.
Secret Language of Birthdays.
Very good book. Very, very good book. And it connects the numbers to the planet, to the tarot on the page. And it is based on the idea of singularity. And that is, instead of, macrocosmic like astrology, let's just pinpoint one birthday through history. It doesn't, why can't it be taken down to one point, right? Just like quantum physics, right? There's a whole world in there. And so there's a lot of metaphysicians that were born on my birthday. So I use that theme for my book, that I'm going to prove it, right? Well, you can't prove it. So
It's a theory still.
So what do? You put 75 people in there. You line up all the inventors, right? You line them up, and then you talk about what they invented. So that's how I did it. You have a long list of ones, a long list of twos, a long list of threes. You're going to have a tremendous amount of artists under threes.
So if the people that are watching, and they're considering about their week, why would they consider numerology? How would that help them throughout this week in particular? What would you say to it? I'm just curious.
Well, like today's date adds up to 5 because it's 2 and 2, and we know we're in a 1 year. We already did that. 2026 is a 1. So all you have to do is add them together. Well, what would I be doing on a 5? Taking a trip to your house to create awareness, right? So there's travel on that day, and it's double 2. High Priestess, right?
Master Builder.
That too. Wow, I didn't even think of that, right? Right, 22 on top of it, right? And a High Priestess, right? And so, essentially because you understand the alignment of the day, and it will happen that way. Tomorrow is a 6, so it's very, very domesticated. People might find love on that day, or they're doing something creative. They might buy a new home, and then it comes down to not only that, but what personal year are you in?
True.
You take my birthday, 1/6, and we already know we're in a 1. 1 plus 6 and 1. I'm in an 8 year.
What does that mean?
It means I need to be. I've already been on TV and radio. I've been on Bay News 9. That's where I feel comfortable. Instead of being the 7 that is withdrawn, that has absorbed all this information for all those lives.
Wait, does that mean I got you out of your shell today?
I resisted, if you recall,
A little bit.
coming here, and we shared the fact that you can't stop what was happening.
Well, also,
You didn't let me shut the door.
No, that's true, and I mean, it takes.
Well, God did it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes you to
Working
choose.
through us.
And it's also that, you're impacting in the way that you can right now. We're having just a conversation, and within that conversation, we're inviting, more people in on the channel. And those that want to take in that information will, and those that don't resonate, they'll just kind of skim on out. And that's okay too.
That's right.
And I really thank those that are watching, and please continue to like and
I hope
subscribe.
you guys are having a good time, and I hope you can hear the cracking fire. It's not very often that you're making a fire in Florida. We got all that cold weather, all that snow we feel down here, right? It's been cold this winter.
It's been a little chilly.
It was 8 degrees wind chill a couple days ago.
True.
Come on, when's that ever
But
happened?
I'm from Chicago, so I know.
Well, so am I.
I know what Chicagoans
I
are
know what the
dealing
Windy
with
City's
right now.
like. You don't want to play at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
No.
But I love being in an 8 because now I'm speaking. I have the Gemini North Node, right? I need to be speaking in this life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we won't go into that, but we know Sagittarius is the philosopher.
Yes.
Whatever sign is across from that is what I was doing in my past life. A tremendous amount of study and moving. So I've had all these drive jobs. I take cars from Pensacola to Miami, sometimes twice in a day. So I still was doing that, but now I'm going out and traveling and speaking, And 8 is the most socially connected number. It's the only number I'm missing But if you add my birth date, which is a 1, to my birth name, which is a 7, you get an 8. So it's not really, it's missing from the tic-tac-toe chart. I have no H's, Q's, or Z's. You want a wealthy kid? Name him Howard Hughes or Hugh Hefner, right? Because 8 is all about money, sex, and power. A lot of us can't deal with that type of energy. It even comes out in nightmares, so that we make sure that we are assured that we get to our fate. Like I said, I couldn't resist coming here, right? It wasn't something that could have been resisted. It was something that was meant to be.
And welcomed.
Yes.
It was welcoming you into this new,
very thankful.
new year, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And I don't like lately, I guess because of the news, they've used that word reset so much that it's almost like now I don't even want to say it. So I don't even say the new me, new you thing. It's just more of renewal and rebirth and just reassessing where you are and also seeing from last year how much you've shed, you know, how much you've let go.
Yeah.
And for that, you learned a lot, right? And in order to teach, you're going to have to speak out. You're going to have to embody. You're going to have to put yourself out there, even if it is a little uncomfortable. But the fact that you have so many published books on
I
the
always
subject,
stumbled up to the podium.
Right.
I was never late. I don't know how it happened.
so it's just another, you know, level that you're going to.
Yeah. So, but and then there's the craziness of I'm an 88, even though that's a 7. It's saying you need business. Well, so and I could barely stay in my body. Oh, is that why I was born an Earth sign? Right, I'm born under Capricorn. They have to prove something. They have to ground on some level. The 8th planet, Saturn, is the 8th planet.
Oh,
So a lot of times when we don't have the number, it'll show up in the astrology as an example of it'll show up somewhere else, you know.
Most ambitious zodiac sign, I think, is Capricorn. Really?
Well, especially when you add the Scorpio rising to it, then there is no slowing down.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
My astrology chart says you're like a double cup of espresso coffee. People will tell you to slow down and you don't, and it's like we have control, but the reality is we really don't. You know.
I was
You
gonna
gotta look at
say.
the 103. I said why? He says because you don't have a choice, man. You know that's kind of tough to really think about it. You know because you know who's really controlling the show down here. You know we're just we're channels. You know
Yeah.
that's what we are. We're channels of God energy. You know, that's why there was no way that me being here could be resisted. What it was is I didn't want to go to the healing bowl, and the reason is because
My sound circle.
yeah, right, and there was a reason for that, a good one. I'm resisting that because I just got a business partner, and here's your room, right? We're gonna do these webinars and all that, and then oh no, we'll just sell your books on Gumshoe and get people on Instagram. I don't know anything about that. I wanted to speak. So what I actually wanted by resisting was to be here today.
Mm-hmm.
And your heart was so warm. That's why it happened. You say, are you sure you're not coming? I go, well, wow, she cares, you know. So I connected to that, you know.
Well, the sound circle is really, and that's a separate thing, and we haven't scheduled a live stream yet, so I will let you guys know when I do the live stream with the 369 sound circle. But that's more about expression. That's more about us gathering, performing, and not even performing, we're co-creating. Nothing is ever planned. We go by feeling, and we'll play sound bowls and shakers and drums, and even if you're not ready for it, if you literally just
So
lay
now
to
you
yourself,
tell me I had to get here to find this out?
I guess so.
I had no idea what you guys were doing.
You gotta ask, right?
The reality is, I've been so quiet with this information that I just got 3 books by a guy named Todd Patrick, another numerologist, Scorpio 999, and so I have too much downloaded information. The only reason I didn't want to go to the sound bowl, because last time I went I had those psychic visions. That's why I started going there, because I wanted to be in silent. I don't want to go to, I was going to church and I felt like I was back in class. You know, you do this, sit up, sit down. So I enjoy
Yeah.
going to them.
Yeah. No, there are some events
But you're
that are
having
fun.
one in 2 days, are you not?
Yes, that's
and
gonna-
I am going because I got what I wanted, which was to be here first, and then have you explain to me all of that. Last time, my sciatica was bothering me, and I fractured my right
Yes.
hip when I was in college. And so on that day, I was thinking, well, how am I going to get comfortable on a pillow on the floor? And Kevin told me, oh, well, you have a couch. Oh, okay, there
Yeah.
it is. And
The one you're on.
and I'm not in pain anymore, right? I had, so there was a reason why I didn't come. I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, and it all comes together when you need to, but I find the most beautiful things, people expand at the sound circle because they're not pushed into any structure. And I've noticed, and I'm very happy to see, that a lot of the people that come consistently to the sound circle start to expand in playing an instrument. And they're playing it for themselves. Not even to be seen, not like, oh, I gotta do this. It's more of like, I'm connecting to this instrument now, and I'm connecting to my voice, and I get to release and be a part of that. And that, witnessing that is very impactful because I feel throughout, this year, last year, I mean, we could say in the last couple of years, people have been silenced, and this is where now when we're going into the age of Aquarius, it's very prominent that we get extremely loud in our truth and really learning to coexist, and yet learning to really speak from love and speak from kindness. And kindness doesn't mean you bend over backwards for people. It just means that you provide a level of understanding.
Oh, good, because I'm not capable of that anyway. So.
Oh, we all are.
Yeah, of
it takes a
course.
little bit of work, though.
I've compromised many times, but, it's, so, when I actually loved the sound ball because I had those psychic visions, and so I'm looking at Jason like a different person, in the Course of Miracles, a miracle is a shift in perception.
Yes.
I am born on the 6th. The 6th is new energy. The birth date is new energy. And 6 is music. So I did learn how to play the keyboards in this life. But I went back to doing what I was good at, which is the 7, right?
Michael
At least I
Kundas,
did.
who is moderating, also plays keys, but he
Oh,
plays
nice.
in Chicago.
Oh,
And
cool.
again, thank you, Mike, for putting in, our link in the chat. That's awesome. That's just to donate to the channel. I mean, any donations that you send our way, it really helps me continue on, and I really thank you if you are able to donate. But at this time, I really thank you all for engaging inside. I see that Rodrigo, he kind of quoted, he said, "I walk a lonely road, the only one that I've ever known. I walk this empty street on the boulevard with broken dreams." So he wrote that. So thanks, Rodrigo.
Whoa, there's some 1-9 energy there, Yeah. I've had times that what's most fascinating is, if these numbers are vibrations, can I pick somebody's numbers? And I have picked all 5 of the numbers. And even if that happens once, I don't try to do that anymore.
Okay.
But that would be the test of a numerologist, because if they are vibrations, they are a language that we should be able to sense after a while what type of energy that person is carrying, just by their body motion, by
Wow.
the way that they look.
Huh.
2, 4, 6, 8, they're all business. Those numbers are they're closed in. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. There are inventors. They look like they're barely can stay in their body. And even if you think of they're all off center, right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2 being four being a square, and 8 being 4 squared. As an example of contraction, there are our builders. They're builders, and a 22-4 builds skyscrapers because they have the double intuition to go along with that. They have vision that's beyond normal capacity. So you got Bono of U2. Take all the seats out of Raymond James Stadium so that you can get Then that was the 360-degree tour, right? So they hold the record, I think, to this day for the biggest concerts, and that would be the work of a 22 to do that, you know. So Bono has that visionary, and 4 is also Taurus, which, you know, he's a Taurus on top of that, which rules beautiful voice. And you're a Taurus.
Yep.
And we're gonna find out if you have a beautiful voice.
Eventually, yes, I'm releasing
Not
some
not
music.
tonight, maybe.
Yeah, not tonight, but I'm
Okay.
releasing some music actually this week on the channel, and that will be great.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about any
Number
other
3?
books that you show. Yeah.
Oh, I got them out of order. That's because these ones are a little smaller. These are like novels. So this is Green Fury. I love this book. This is ridiculous. I would dream that I'm in the Everglades. I only knew where I was because I dreamt it so much. And I'm surrounded by crocodiles and I have no oars. And where am I going to go? So I kept dreaming that. And then...
This is before Florida.
No, this is in Florida.
Okay.
This is in Florida. And there's a quick story behind why I was dreaming that.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I had my oars in one of the dreams and I rode it to a pier and the 2 crocodiles chased me up the pier and I jumped into a mannequin store and they slammed into the door and my girlfriend said, "You're in Florida, you need to write a book on alligators," you know?
Okay.
Well, I had no interest in the ecology of alligators, so it sat for 10 years. And I thought, well, one of the ways that I travel, astral travel, is by whirlpool. So they travel by whirlpool. Whatever my dreams were, I dreamt that I was with these like 12 beautiful women and I was battling a dragon and I was the only one that escaped going over. I was at a motel running full speed as the wood fell and burned, and that became part of the story. The 11 sorcerers in my book were actually from a book called Crystal Forest, and they were shamans, and I thought, well, their names were perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, so you have Mirror, and you have
So it's more fantasy, this book.
oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fantasy genre,
definitely.
nothing connected with astrology.
Oh, definitely.
Or is there some astrology, numerology in there?
Definitely metaphysical type of ideas in there.
Okay.
Yeah, creates a something called angel speak and proves what happens when you don't speak right to people, what it does to the aura, and she creates this.
You mean light language?
Huh?
Light language.
Well, okay, is that what it is? No,
I mean,
okay.
it sounds like.
Okay, I'll call it light language in my next
language.
part. Angel
language is nice.
Yeah, and so it is proven that how we speak to people, you know, so it went metaphysical. You have these alligator attacks, but you don't really know who's doing it or why, and who's this alligator cult that's living on this island with these strange masks on, doing these ceremonies, right? So they're connected to the story. So I turned it metaphysical, or I wouldn't have written it, you know. And of course, most of them end up
Sequel.
after the battle on the island of Masoki. Most of them end up in a mental health institute. So that's where this one starts, and this is wonderful because I got well, there's not 11 anymore. I'm not going to tell you how many there are because a few of them were killed off. Could be 7. Could be 7, but I got them in the Toys R Us, and I love it because, you know, their instruments are like the encyclopedia of plants. You know, some of them can communicate with plants, and so they all have these very interesting tools where it becomes funny. That, you know, imagining, children would have loved toys like that are, you know, supernatural, you know, or it has a mood ring that comes with, you know, with it. But those are just silly things that I love to put in it because it Americanized it, and it took out the idea that they're these bad sorcerers. They're just like you and I, right? They have great powers, but every once in a while they slip. They might levitate some alligators west, so let's just put it that way.
Gotcha.
And I didn't base it on Sharknado. It was written before that, but that's part of it. But it also appealed to my Scorpio rising, right? We're gonna get back at them. We're gonna get back at them. But so they're very occult oriented. Sabrina, who really represents my first girlfriend, who was blonde. I kind of made her surrounded, who, you know, based on my first girlfriend, and
I love her holding the golden sphere. That's really cool.
and she is a numerologist, and they don't know why they need to go through these whirlpools at 111. They have an argument right in the middle of the book, and it's like, wait a minute, this isn't a numerology book, and I saw a perfect opportunity to put that in. They're traveling to the Everglades. I like, then it's up to 77. It's an actual vortex. And where are they going to go next? So they travel by vortex. I didn't know that I didn't even know when I wrote it that it was a double number.
Oh.
So
it's very intuitive. It's very intuitive. Right?
Exactly. It all played out in my dreams, you know, essentially. And because the first book
And that's not unheard of too. I mean, I know from studying a little bit of Nikola Tesla, a lot of his inventions, they said that he dreamt it or envisioned it and then wrote it down verbatim. And then the prototype was created with no mistakes, no alterations.
Yeah, literally
Same thing with Mozart.
saw it suspended in the air. Right?
Mozart also did that.
Yeah.
Mozart also had written, you know, whole melodies, almost complete pieces, same thing, no revisions, no, I mean, and back then, as we know, they were with ink and paper. The fact that there was not one correction is fascinating. Like, just amazing how well of a composer to do that.
And Tesla's in my second book, and what if your numbers are 11, 22, 1, 1, right? Completely off the scale. His numbers are completely off the scale.
Yes.
So it's back to
way behind his time.
way beyond, and beyond Edison, who was a double 7, 11, born on the 11. Very powerful numbers, but not as powerful, you know. And
that's also why I named the sound circle 369 because of those powerful numbers, but also to just remind everyone that does, you know, join us in music that we transcend everything. Everything is energy and frequency, and it's just a little nudge of that reminder because we tend to forget, and then our process is to remember, and then we forget again, and then we have to remember again.
we came here to play stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the name because I haven't read. I know there's books on 369, thick books.
Yes.
I've never tried to study it. I know the number doesn't show up in certain systems, you know, whereas the other numbers do. But love adds up to 36, and 3 and 6 is 9. How complicated do we really have to get down here, right? I mean, are you going to choose love or are you going to choose fear? You know,
That's a great question.
how much more research do you have to do than that? You know, and I think that's why I lost my interest in that, because I don't think there's anything more important than everything we are doing down here is to learn love. We wear these different skins, you know, different perspectives, black, white, crippled, president, whatever it is, and if there's any truth to this, because this is just my theory, right? Numerology's exploration, it works whether you believe in that theory or not. You can make out whatever you want. You've gone through that, you become a 9. You have gone all the way up the scale, and so they are the humanitarians. I'm trying to think of...
Which is where we're at in the age of Aquarius. It is about defining what is human, defining humanity, reminding us of humanity, bringing us closer to that way of consciousness. Out of everything that we've gone through so far, I would hope that we get a little more advanced.
Yeah.
Well, how can everyone, you know, reach you after this? I did put in the description your email, but if somebody, you know, would like to, you know, purchase your books or have a session with you, do you prefer email or how would you like to be contacted?
Yeah, by email. I mean, I'm also on Todd Curran Facebook, and 813-870-0250. I'm not nervous about anybody calling me. I'm up most of the time. I don't sleep a whole lot, so you can call me anytime you want. And I can do reading over the phone. They don't have to be there. If they do it in person, they get a chart which has a key to all of the numbers, so that when you're done, you can go back and
Yes.
say, oh, what's circled? What's missing? And then expand upon that more by buying my wonderful books that explain all that. My first book has 5 different systems in it. I think that's one of the reasons that it's powerful, because the systems overlap. In my estimation, occult wisdom and being a 7 are the same thing. That does not mean that all 7s would have that. But, and there's a reason where 007 is used as is because it's the number of the detective or a Scorpio type of individual, right? Somebody mysterious. That's or code breakers. So, yeah, and
Well, I'll definitely update the description to have all your links for these books so that people can definitely go back and look at them. I hope that you all share, on the replay after the live. I hope that you enjoy, discussing numerology and at least learn something new this week. I know I did. It was, again, such a pleasure to have you. I hope that you come back. Maybe we could talk about astrology or tarot and connect these systems. I think some people would love to talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, I even have them as PowerPoints where they can be connected through those.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be great.
Well, I hope you all enjoy the week. I will be announcing some music coming our way this week. I'm very excited to premiere that. So definitely press the bell and press all for all notifications for the channel. And again, please like and subscribe. And we will see you all again sometime soon. Thank you, Todd, so much.
You're welcome.